Good morning, everybody. So happy to see you all here this Sunday morning. Welcome to the Plant Powered Show. My name is Amy Huffy, and this is our first demonstration of the day. So we're kicking off with a lot of energy, and the amazing Christiaan Campbell, who was also the executive chef previously. Hello, just checking my sound is working. Who was previously the executive chef at Delaire Graff at Boschendal. You might know some of those wine estates in the Stellenbosch region. He is now based in McGregor, doing consulting with Timonos. If you have a look on your seats, you should find some pamphlets with a bit more information. He is also the founder of Living Exchange, and very, very passionate about all things people, food, animals, planet, and most importantly, connection. So yesterday we started the day, the two of us together. So now I'm feeling a lot more comfy this Sunday. Day 3, our last day of the Plant Powered Show. Christiaan, what are you making for us this morning?
Well, it's a plant-based power show, so obviously I'm sticking to plants. I just believe that if you're going to be having a plant-based vegetable diet, nothing needs to be boring. So we're going to be prepping obviously a vegetable dish, roasted sweet potatoes. I'm going to pass the spice around just now, but it's a spice of dried rosemary, thyme, fenugreek, fennel seed, peppercorns, coriander. It smells really, really aromatic.
Can I take this around for everyone to have a quick smell, just to get a sense of the flavors we're going to be working with today?
So a little roasted sweet potato and cabbage wrap, and then I've made a relish from fenugreek soaked overnight with coriander, fresh coriander, and lemon juice. And for something sweet, we've got roasted pineapple, coconut panna cotta, and peanut butter crumble, which is all gluten-free as well. So I ticked that box for today's sweet treat.
I feel like he's ticking that box for me because I'm allergic to wheat, so having gluten-free options is just right up my alley. I'm so excited to try that.
So Amy, I did listen yesterday.
Some of you have commented on what a beautiful bowl this is. During the session, I will be giving away a Mervyn Gaze bowl as well. So pay careful attention to everything that Christiaan has to say. We'll be asking some questions later. Welcome, please come and join us. Take a seat.
Great. Okay, I'm going to get cracking. First of all, the fenugreek. I don't know if anybody's familiar with fenugreek. It took me about 30 years to discover fenugreek. It was thanks to my wife. She said when I get home, my cooking's very, very bland. I try to escape the big flavors from restaurant food and just was sticking to the same simple steamed vegetables and various other things that the show's not about. And she started investigating a lot of spices, and I suddenly realized that when I was about 5 years old, we had this old Greek restaurant in the wrong side of the tracks in Mowbray, and there was always the smell of like roast lamb and these roast potatoes, and it was fenugreek that was the ingredient in these roast potatoes. So it's my newfound love of spice for fenugreek is up there with everything really. Amazing. That and fennel seed. I don't know if long ago you might have had a McDonald's burger at some point in your life. They use a lot of fennel in the pickle. I
feel like that's something I would never have known. Right?
So the use of fennel brings out great flavors in food. It's particularly good in mayonnaise or in some sort of emulsion sauce and for seasoning. Just generally, it just amps out flavor. So I thought I'd just throw these all together. The spice doesn't have a name. It's just very
secret
nice spice. Yeah, super spice. My secret herb and spice. So I'm not going to do a lot of cooking. I'm just going to do more assembling. Because yesterday I was running around like a mad thing, and then I didn't talk, and then Amy had to fill in all the spaces, which was huge. So today I'm just going to talk through various aspects. So we've used sweet potato, just cut into little fingers. It's been seasoned with a spice, which we'll pass around. And then we use coconut fat, which Simple Truth has got a lovely range out. We use coconut fat. Coconut fat caramelizes really nicely. So when you're roasting with it, it gives a wonderful, wonderful flavor coming through. So that's that. So just toss it all together, melt the fat a bit, warm up your tray, put the fat into the tray, let it melt, add your seasoning, toss your sweet potato through in a hot oven at 220 degrees. Should take about 15 minutes. Just time it well with load shedding.
Something we always have to
yeah.
think about these days.
Or you could do it in a solid base pan, I think. It would work well. Just slowly, single layer, just be patient and just work it in. I mean, Le Creuset's got these lovely solid tops, so that would get the desired result. So I've just taken, you can use Chinese cabbage. Here we're using little baby cabbages.
And Christiaan, has that been wilted down in some water already because it looks softened?
So we had a pot of boiling water, a little touch of salt,
Okay.
just blanched in for about 30 seconds, pull it
Right.
out, just dry on a cloth a bit. And it's really simple that we just, with all the seasoning and wrap. I normally do bigger ones, but for today's show, we're just doing this. So
Because
you just,
the Chinese cabbage leaf is bigger, right?
yeah. And then I'll pack it quite substantially with a lot of sweet potato. You can do what you want, really. If you like more cabbage in the roll, then do what I'm doing now. And then we're talking about flavor all the way through. So somewhere on this table, I've got a basting sauce that I've made, which I'll describe now. So again, it's to bring in flavor. Back in the restaurant at Tibaldi's restaurant at Timonos Retreat in McGregor, we cook a lot over coal fires on a grid, so which also brings natural flavors and smokiness and what have you.
And not just because of load shedding.
And not because of load shedding. But it's really funny if in the occasional times that we've had no power, there's a lot of smoke from the fire, which is also unpleasant. So, yeah. Anyway, but we do have electricity most of the time. So the basting sauce, we've taken a little bit of vinegar. So it's a combination of sweet, sour, salt to bring in, to really activate your taste buds. So I haven't used sugar, actually. I've used coconut sugar, which I'm not plugging Simple Truth, but they've got a great coconut sugar as well. So we've used coconut sugar, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, and we've just mixed it all up, and that we've just based this dish with, which I'm going to...
And Christiaan, could you use any kind of vinegar, or is apple cider vinegar sort of the preference to use for this basting?
Apple cider I used because it was on my product list for the show. But my big favorite as well as alternative is Rosendal vinegar.
Oh, lovely,
it's,
yes.
from Stellenbosch. It's
Yes.
aged very slowly, like 7 years, in big wooden flasks. And I don't use soy sauce in my cooking. And this is like my version of soy sauce.
I
so, yeah.
Fantastic.
I don't know if we can pass this around.
Yes.
People can get a
Let me
smell
pass
of
it
that.
around this side. I think everyone had a little sniff on that side, but really the flavors here are just fantastic. Can I
Okay.
give this to you to pass back
So
behind you?
this is a great. I know a lot of people are at a loss if somebody that's vegan or vegetarian is coming for Sunday braai. So this is a great option to put onto your list. Or it's a great option for you having a Sunday braai, but you're only serving vegetable-based dishes. A great dish to satisfy anybody. Okay, so and just to go with that, there's this wonderful sauce that I discovered recently. It's my favorite spice again, Fenugreek. Soak it overnight with fresh water or spring water. It absorbs the moisture and almost gets a little bit glutinous. Then you blend it in a blender with just some chopped green chilies. The amount you can choose, some garlic, salt, lemon juice, fresh coriander, and you blitz it up and you get this beautiful paste. I mean,
Lovely.
smell that. It's really...
Oh, it smells absolutely delicious.
So if all things go according to plan, you will be getting tasters in the next 10, 15 minutes, and you can get a taste of that. So my big approach here is really just about, it's about big flavors to accompany something that's pretty mundane. So I'm not using exotic vegetables here. I'm using the lonely cabbage and the sort of underground sweet potato. So, but just with simple ingredients, you can really amplify the flavors and turn it into something quite special. Everybody says to be vegan costs a lot of money, but it doesn't have to. You can really eat delicious plant-based foods on a budget and be cost conscious. I just want to say, when I did cut the sweet potatoes, the team said, "Oh, must we peel?" I said, "No, just scrub the sweet potatoes. They looked amazing." And then I didn't chop off the ends because at the end of the day, you don't want to waste. So a couple of years ago, I decided that I wasn't going to do highly knife-skilled cuts of food because it was very wasteful, rather just focus on flavor. And then I'll touch on another subject, the human contact and effect on food. But so in terms of restaurants, my big approach is minimizing wastage to almost near zero, and anything that does need to go somewhere, it's either going to compost or feeding animals. So that's my story on that dish. Right. Thank you.
I have to just tell you all that it is a lot of work for our chefs to be here, not only hosting and cooking live in front of everyone today, but in a kitchen that is not their own. And Christiaan had this beautiful story that he shared with me yesterday around kitchens having their own personalities, and that you need to figure out your space's personality.
So I'm addicted to starting up new restaurants and kitchens. I was just talking to somebody that I think he's on stage later in the day, and he's going to a new kitchen, heading up a new kitchen. And it's that feeling of going into a space that hasn't been born yet. The life hasn't been breathed into that space. And coming into that space, and you're bringing in new people that don't know each other, and they don't know the chef, they don't know the space, we don't know the clientele. And it's that incredible relationship building that starts with each other, within the kitchen space and within the space itself, and you're learning to interact and connect with your service team and your new client base, and the dynamics are incredible, and to really understand what each other's trying to do and what each other's needs are. So I'm addicted to that, and I'm so addicted to that. My big focus now, besides enjoying cooking, is really connecting people to their organizations, and really having organizations that are regenerative in their approach of management and treating their staff and people, their suppliers, and satisfying the needs and meeting the needs of their clients. So we're going to move on to the next story. I'm going to just talk around a little bit about the dessert. So what I didn't mention on the dessert is one component is date paste. I was trying to stick to a sugar-free dessert. I've used coconut sugar, but these dates are delicious. I think they're from Namibia, actually. So, but my newfound love is date paste. It's great for sweetening dishes without having to use sugar.
How do you make it?
So it's literally dates you can either cook up with the pips in, or you tear the pips out. A little bit of water. I'm going to do a little plug here, Nomu vanilla paste. It's very good, though.
It is very good. I love using Nomu's vanilla paste. High quality, right, Christiaan?
Yeah. I met the founder when I was, that started Nomu I think I was 20 or something, and she went on to produce Nomu. So it really is a great product. So it's a bit of vanilla, water, these dates, and you literally just simmer for about half an hour to get it really, really soft, and then just pass the paste through, or the pulp through a sieve. If you haven't taken the pips out, if you have taken the pips out, just into a blender. Some people make a date syrup, but again, it's that wastage which I really couldn't really entertain, where you throw the pulp away and you just stick with the syrup. The syrup is delicious. I think it is available from some of the stands available within the show. So date paste, that forms a component to go with the panna cotta. The panna cotta I've set with agar-agar. I've used almond milk. I toasted some of this I haven't seen such beautiful shaved coconut flakes in a long time. So I toasted these, infused the almond milk with toasted coconut, added some coconut sugar, a bit of vanilla paste. Has anybody worked with agar-agar? No? Yeah, okay. So,
for those who don't know, what is it actually, and what is it made from?
Please don't ask too much detail.
Okay.
It's seaweed based, and I know it's got a lot of, is it protein? It's quite high in protein, or it's very high in minerals, being a seaweed based product. but it's got great setting qualities. It's not quite like that you'd expect from gelatine, so it doesn't do like that elastic wobble, but it's more firm but tender bite to it. And you have to use it quite cautiously. I used about 5 mils to half a liter of almond milk, and I gave quite a nice set. It's also, I think it's great for when your fridge breaks down because it stays set at room temperature as well, which is also a big plus.
Good to know, yeah.
Okay. So I've taken pineapple. I normally use sugar because I want to get that caramelization, or actually no sugar at all. So what I've done is I took pineapple, a little bit of coconut sugar, a little bit of coconut fat, and tossed it all together, roasted it in a very hot oven. So what I did here was trying to do 2 dishes in one oven, so you're not wasting all the electricity, and you can get 2 dishes done at once. So I don't know if the camera can see there, but the roasted pineapple came out really beautifully, and it's got a nice syrup to go with it as well, which will go really nicely with the dessert. And then I made a peanut butter. All my magic fairies behind me, they made for me this peanut butter biscuit, which is again gluten-free. Just some beautiful rolled oats, peanut butter, some almond flour, some maple syrup, and a pinch of salt. And just mix all the lot together and just bake in the oven. You can roll it into balls and bake it as biscuits. We just baked it as a sheet. For the purposes of this dessert, I'm going to chop these into blocks, just pan fry them a bit and heat up the pineapple and then plate the dessert. Great. I'm just going to finish the plating the savory
I was going to say, our
first.
snacks came out late yesterday and now they're almost ready to go out. So let's continue and then we'll share them out with everyone.
Great. I did forget something that on the dish, just to add another dimension. I've just taken pumpkin seeds, mixed with a little bit of salt, a little bit of vinegar, again, coconut sugar, toss them all together on a baking sheet, like a non-stick paper or something like that. And we've got this nice crunchy topping, which can go onto the dish.
Sorry, just testing my mic again. And do you just sprinkle that on top as a garnish?
Yeah, I'll set one up quickly. I was going to use my fingers, but I felt everybody was watching. Okay. So
I find that having the chefs here part of the amazing demonstration that they do is not just about the cooking, but it's about how they present everything so beautifully always. And of course, our Mervyn Gares plates are showing off for you all today. I will be giving one away, so I will be asking questions at the end, and those who get, the first person to get the question right will receive a beautiful bowl from Mervyn Gares. He has an incredible studio in Pardon Island, amazing Cape Townian ceramicist. And you can see some more of the bowls, for example, here, in and amongst our lovely Le Creuset products as well, our pots and pans. Just hold on a second. You like to ask a question?
Just wanted to ask him, did he bake that or did he fry it? I don't remember him saying anything about the cabbage roll.
The cabbage. So they just go into a dish. You just baste them into a super hot oven. Yeah. And if you're having a braai, it really grills nicely as well. I'd probably, to make life easier, you'd probably put about 8 on 2 bamboo sticks, and then you've got control on the fire, and they're not going to unravel, and you won't have to feel anxious. Yeah.
If anyone does have any questions throughout, please just raise your hand. I'll bring the microphone over.
I just need it for my relish. Amy, help, my relish. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
I was organized. Okay.
I'm not a great sous chef, to be honest. And with a microphone in only one hand, I said to Christiaan, I'm not sure how much help I'll be in the kitchen today.
So this,
Can I also bring some of that around just now so that everyone can have a smell of the relish? Because it is so beautiful and fresh.
I've just done this. So it's
what
really...
do we call that, a quenelle? The little shape.
Yeah. I'm doing quenelle with a compostable spoon. It's a first.
It
I
is.
think, yeah.
A real art.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. I think they get a good idea of what the aroma is on that. All right.
Okay.
So
you want to pass that around for everyone.
I've spoken about the dish, and I've spoken about your spaces and feeling responsible in terms of how you prepare your food. But it's also understanding that you have a big influence over your food and how people experience your food. Many years ago, I think I'd read a book called The Alchemist. And it got me thinking in terms of, as a chef, am I not an alchemist as well? And anybody that cooks with food basically are alchemists. You're taking a substance and you're working with it, and then you're turning it into something else. And there's that exchange of that person with this ingredient and the heat and whatever you're doing with the food, and then presenting it and serving it to people. There's a huge part of you that goes out with that food to the table and how people experience it. So I've become very conscious that within the kitchen space, one needs to be working in harmony, there needs to be open communication, because if food has been prepared with a lot of angst and sort of bad vibes, they're going to travel out on the plate. So my big focus in working with kitchens and restaurants and any environment really is to ensure how do we engage in open communication where we can really be there for our guests and be there for ourselves and learn to listen and connect with each other. So there's one lesson for this Sunday morning.
Definitely. And I feel it's true. I don't know about all of you, but if I'm having a bit of a bad day and I try and rally myself up to cook something, it's not going to be the best. And that's why I use generally a Sunday evening to help with a bit of meal prep for the week, so that if I have a busy Tuesday or Wednesday evening when I get home, there's already beautiful food waiting there.
So, I mean, I discovered this years ago when I was producing really technically amazing food, and I was so proud of it, and I'd go out and I wouldn't really get much feedback. And then suddenly I looked again and the kitchen was more harmonious, but the food wasn't looking as fantastic, but we were getting more positive feedback, and that really sort of said, okay, thank you, I understand now.
Yes,
okay.
so interesting.
All right, so
are we ready to send our tasters out?
Yeah, I'd love the team to do that. So
I
think they would sort those out. That'd be great.
I'll get the team to help me, kitchen fairies, help me hand these out.
Great, so the panna cotta I'll show you now.
It's drizzling.
Sorry, I just got to show this off.
How cool is that fridge?
Whoever knew you needed a feature like that? Okay. So when working with agar, I did ask if people have worked with it before. It's not that difficult to work with. What's really important is to cook it out properly. So it's a seaweed-based product, and it needs to cook out for about 5 minutes. So you need to simmer whatever the product is, or whatever liquid you're using. You need to let it simmer for at least 5 minutes. Some say you can sprinkle it directly into your hot liquid. I don't like doing that because it hasn't always worked for me, and then you can't get the lumps out, which is disappointing. So I make a little slurry with a little bit of water, so it's a nice paste, and then I scrape and whisk it into the liquid.
Christiaan, can you just remind us what all has gone into this?
Okay, so this is almond milk, Simple Truth almond milk on my right. I added the Nomu vanilla paste, coconut sugar. I toasted coconut flakes and infused the milk with that for about an hour or two. Or what you can do, which works really well, is take coconut flakes the night before, take your almond milk and just put it in a container in your fridge and forget about it. The infusion works really, really well. It works great for rooibos tea. Take big, loose rooibos tea, soak that in your milk overnight, strain that out. You can do a rooibos panna cotta or whatever you want. So you don't always have to use heat.
Yes.
Also working with vanilla, a lot of people are saying now that you should add vanilla right at the end because you're actually cooking out a lot of the aromatics. So,
Actually,
yeah.
we were speaking about the vanilla yesterday. I don't know how many of you know this product, but it is quite funny how vanilla, when you taste it just on its own, it's actually quite bitter.
Yeah.
And yet the aroma of vanilla is so sweet. So I'm going to pass this product around just for some of you who might not have seen it before. It is a product that I use personally as well. I don't know if you just want to pass it behind you. And you can squint out a little bit if you'd like to taste it. But just the smell of it is beautiful. Really handy to have in the kitchen.
Just going to move. I'm going to make space for myself.
Are those tasters going around? Are they good at the back there? Amazing. How is the basting sauce? I had a question actually earlier. Just a reminder of what went into that basting sauce. You were saying that you don't use soya sauce, but this is kind of your version of what that could be.
Yeah. So in terms of vinegars, you're asking me about the vinegars.
Yes.
Apple cider vinegar's got nice aromatics to it. It's also got a lot of health benefits, or so I'm told. But I love using Rosendal vinegar because it's got that lovely oaky flavors coming through. So I don't use imported balsamic vinegar either. I like sticking to local produce, something produced in South Africa, and I think that's probably one of the nicest vinegars I've ever come across. They also do a 15-year-old balsamic vinegar, which you can actually pour into a little liqueur glass and sip.
Oh, wow.
It is unbelievable. It
Definitely need
is
to
beautiful.
look that up.
Yeah.
If you ever headed out towards Stellenbosch area, right, Christiaan?
Yeah, there's a lovely pop-up restaurant there called Good Together, which is also worth going to. So if you
Oh, I follow them on social. Great.
Yeah.
Good content, beautiful farm, fresh produce.
Okay, so I'm just going to cut these fellows into little blocks.
And what are we heating in the pan?
I'm going to heat up the pineapple.
Oh, yes. Beautiful.
So this is set nicely. It normally takes about an hour to set.
What do you think of the tasters? Good? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to our kitchen fairies who are working so hard behind the scenes. You have no idea the huge kitchen that's happening at the back and all the prep work that's going on today and the whole weekend. So thank you so much. Brilliant team. We're using an incredible group of students who are using this as a wonderful work experience for their studies.
The young lady that's been helping me, I'm not very good at remembering names. So I always think of a traffic light, you get red and green, and then you get amber, and amber is her name.
Okay.
So
Cute.
I managed to remember. Okay. You can use less agar-agar and then always set it in a bowl and then use the same toppings to carry on with the dish. So you can set it in a bowl. It's probably easier for the dinner party. So I'm just going to move that off. Take that.
So the pineapple that we're adding to the pan now, it was soaking overnight, or how did it get to the state again?
So we took a little bit of coconut fat, coconut sugar, and just tossed it all together with the chopped pineapple onto a non-stick baking tray into a very hot oven. And yeah, it took about 20-30 minutes. You can go quite wild with it, even if it burns slightly. It's
little charred pieces.
Yeah. I'm just going to add a little bit more liquid.
But if you're doing this or prepping this in advance, for example, say now you wanted to make this dessert for guests coming over, it's quite nice to actually almost slightly just undercook it and then reheat it in the pan like you're doing now.
Yeah. I've got another pan somewhere. This one.
It smells so beautiful. Does anyone want to come up close and have a little whiff of the pineapple? It is lovely. Oh, good.
The pineapple's got star anise in there as well, which really sort of amps up the flavor.
Are you all familiar with star anise as an ingredient?
Yeah. It's a great...
Oh, lovely, right? Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Christiaan, I mean, this pineapple looks so fantastic. I can imagine making a batch of this and having it, for example, with oats in the morning.
Yeah.
Adding it to any kind of dessert, really. It is so beautiful. What else could you do with it, possibly?
It could, I think it would go well with like a cabbage steak or something like that.
Oh, really?
Spice up a nice
Yes.
big wedge of grilled cabbage steak. Topping that up would be great. Well, okay, good.
What I'm going to do
Sorry,
is just bring
almost
around
there.
a bowl to also show you what the pineapple looks like, so you can have a closer look. This is just before heating it up again in the pan, so this is what it would have looked like coming out of the oven.
So I'm using this date paste just to give the panna cotta a little bit more flavor. When working with agar-agar, you really need to amplify your liquid in terms of taste, because the gel qualities of agar-agar seem to take away flavor rather than enhance flavor. So always over-flavor your liquid that you're going to be setting with agar-agar.
We have some tasters going around now with the dessert. How does it taste? Lovely? The cookie. Christian, it sounds like everyone's having a great time sampling your dishes today.
Okay, I'm just going to finish these off. And then with your coconut flakes, always save some behind just to finish off. I'm just going to wait for the crumble to heat up a bit. I'm just going to turn that down so I can talk. All right. Great. So I'm just going to, a little bit of toasted flakes.
For those of you who are curious about Christian's recipes, all our recipes will be loaded onto the plant-powered website after the show, so you should be able to get that content. And we'll also be showcasing the videos. We are filming the cooking session, so for any of you who want to go back and refer to the recipes or the tips that Christian has shared with us, you'll be able to see those videos later on.
So here's a dessert that's completely plant-based. You got a lovely gel effect brought about by agar-agar using those qualities. There's no cane sugar in here. We use the natural sweetness of pineapple, the wonderful qualities of coconut sugar, and maple syrup to bring sweetness into your life.
Beautiful. Does
So-
anyone want to come up and see how the plate has actually been plated? Looks really pretty. Because we do eat with our eyes, after all.
So the reason why I've presented the dessert in this way is it's very much about eating everything together. So it's one way, you just take a spoon and scoop, and then you should get most of the components. Which would taste completely different if I will put it into a blender and piped it into the middle of the plate. You'll get a different flavor as well. So
True.
okay. All right. I don't know if I've got any forks or spoons. Yeah, let me. I'll find.
So there's some forks on the
thank you.
side here if anyone wants to just come and try straight off Christian's plate.
There we go. You can take from there.
I think what's also so beautiful about this is that you have the combination of the different textures in one mouthful.
Yeah. So we are at a plant-based food show. I gather everybody is conscious of their diet and what they're eating and what they consume. And it doesn't really matter what diet you're following. We all got a huge impact to play in terms of the way we shop and where we procure our food. And a good rule of thumb is to know where your food comes from. I think that's a really good start. And also then to start inquiring wherever that food is coming from, does the farming practice leave that soil in a better place than it was before that product came off that land? So essentially we're talking not about sustainability, but conditions of regeneration. So we really need to be striving for regeneration. Some people think we've got a carbon crisis in the world. We've actually got the biggest gift that man has ever created inadvertently to get carbon back into the soil. And the way we can do that is through the way we eat. And if our farmers can be given the chance, and if we can reward our farmers for farming in a regenerative way, we can draw that carbon right back into the soil, because at the end of the day, it's living plants that thrive on carbon, and they use that carbon to generate beautiful sugars, which feed beautiful microbes in the soil, which also help draw down carbon and various other gases back into the soil. So just through dining, we've got a huge huge role to play in drawing carbon back into the soil. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Christiaan, and thank you so much to all of you for joining us for our first demonstration of the day. We've got a jam-packed schedule ahead of us, so please have a look at the board outside. We also have incredible wellness talks happening across the way, and I'm sure if you have any questions for Christiaan, he'll be sticking around just at the end if you want to ask any more.
No, absolutely.
So for my wonderful prize, which I'm sure some of you are waiting to hear what the question is, Christiaan, I announced earlier, he is the founder of a magnificent business in McGregor.
Yeah.
And can anyone remember what the name of that is? That's where Timonos is where Christiaan partners, but his own business? No. Any other guesses? Not Timonos, but should I ask another question? Why don't you tell them and then we'll ask another one?
Okay, it's living exchanges, so yeah. Second question.
Okay, next question. I mentioned 2 wine estates where Christiaan was previously the exec chef. Can anyone mention both of them?
Boschendal and Graff.
Yay! Congratulations! All right, here is your beautiful bowl, handmade by Mervyn Gares. Congrats and enjoy it. I hope you make beautiful meals in that bowl. A big thanks again to Christiaan for his time and for sharing such informative information and beautiful, delicious recipes with us here today.
Yeah, thanks,
and
Amy.
if anyone has any other questions, stick around and enjoy the show.
And thank you for being such awesome guests. And Amy, thank you for making me look so good. So, yeah.